Hello everybody and welcome to SEC Thursday, even though it is Wednesday, because like I said, I do not want to do a video on Thanksgiving Day. I already filmed Big Ten Wednesday, go and check that out. And then after I get through SEC Thursday, I'm going to do my projected playoff bracket. Not like if the season ended today, I'm going like after conference championship week, this is what I think the bracket is going to be on Selection Sunday. It didn't take me that long. I didn't give it an insane amount of thought. It's gutsy and might not be the best, but that's mine. My take. That is my take. Yeah. But now let's get through SEC Thursday. 11-0, 7-0 conference play, ranked third in the country. The Texas A&M Aggies. They're a good college football team. They're good. They're a good team. And they are built well. They're a good team. Marcel Reed is a great quarterback. Mike Elko was doing a phenomenal job there. His first season started out great, then kind of fell apart. The second season just been great. Black Friday, though, at nighttime, they got to go into Austin. They haven't beat Texas in forever, considering there was a long break in the rivalry and they lost last season. But they're a good team. We all remember the South Carolina comeback 2 weeks ago. That was impressive. That was a really nice comeback win for them. Marcel Reed's considered a top 3 Heisman contender. I think Pavia should definitely be ahead of him. I think Pavia should be ahead of Sand. But Texas A&M's great. But it's going to be tough going into Austin and winning. It's going to be tough. Arch Manning hasn't performed well against good defenses, so we'll see. But the Aggies have a pretty good defense. But Mike Elko's a good coach. He's done a great job during his second year. No November collapse this season, which has been good. But it's very important to them for them to beat Texas. For them to beat Texas would be crucial to have an undefeated regular season. Excuse me. 10-1, 7-1 conference play, ranked 4th in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's playing great football. They beat Charlotte on Saturday. They got a big one against Georgia Tech. Not as big anymore because Pittsburgh upset Georgia Tech. But still, that's still a tough game. Brent Key's great as an underdog. They almost beat Georgia last season. It's kind of at a neutral field, I think. Which is too bad. But Georgia's lone loss is at home to Alabama. Alabama's a good football team. Alabama's good. Alabama's a good football team, but nothing great. Georgia is... Gunnar Stockton's playing great football. Georgia just dominated Texas. Georgia might be the hottest team in college football. Them and Notre Dame. And I think Georgia can definitely win the national championship. That's very possible. Last season, it kind of felt like all year Carson Beck was struggling. They never felt like a team that could win. This year, they do. Gunnar Stockton is a great quarterback. There are very few teams in the country who are playing better football than Georgia, if any. 10-1, 6-1 in conference play, ranked 7th in the country, the Ole Miss Rebels. They're fresh off of a bye week. We all know all of the Lane Kiffin drama. What's going to happen with Lane Kiffin? People are wondering. And can they go into Starkville and win in a game they struggled? It's Black Friday, 11 a.m. kick. Maybe Kiffin's focusing on other things. They beat Mississippi State. Lane Kiffin, I personally think he takes the LSU job. My take is Lane Kiffin takes the LSU job and he's LSU's head football coach. That's my take. But I'm still wondering, I'm still wondering where he's going to go, of course, but I'm also wondering, what will he coach in the college football playoff? I think he will. North Texas's coach is staying. So I do, in fact, think he will coach in the college football playoff for them. Excuse me. But if Mississippi State beats them, they might not be. There is a world where Ole Miss does not make the college football playoff. We're saying they're a lock. I'm not so sure they are. They are not. If they lose to Mississippi State, they are not getting in. And I'm scared for that game. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm scared. 9-2, 6-1 in conference play, ranked 10th in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide. They go into Auburn on Saturday night. That's a scary game. All things considered, apparently they are convinced it's cursed. The past 2 seasons survived. Quadruple overtime winner 4 years ago, Bryce Young at quarterback. 2 years ago, the fourth and goal at the 31-yard line in survival. And that got them into the college football playoff that season. But the crazy part to me, or will they still need it to be Georgia? And then Auburn always chokes away wins this season against good opponents. And Alabama has snuck out the past 2 years when they go into Auburn Stadium. But this isn't Nick Saban. Kalen DeBoer's a worse coach. He's better at being upset. So I'm scared if I'm an Alabama fan. I mean, people were thinking they're a lock. They're going to win the national championship. But yet, you weren't even a lock. Ty Simpson's playing his worst football this season. He was like the Heisman favorite. Struggles in the LSU win. Goes down a bit. Struggles in the Oklahoma loss then. And he's like, I don't know, Heisman discussion. But then you miss it. He probably played a great game. Maybe not a bounce back considering Eastern Illinois is trash. But they won 56-0. No, Ty Simpson threw no touchdowns, 2 picks. He might have run for a touchdown. I'll check. But, I mean, he struggled. So, if I'm Alabama, I'm scared to go into this game, especially when my quarterback is playing his worst football of the season. Especially when my quarterback is playing his worst football of the season. Or Ty Simpson did not have a rushing touchdown. So, he did not run for a touchdown. He did have some runs, but still. And had no passing touchdowns, 2 picks. Yeah, they won 56-0, but that was expected. And the fact that Ty Simpson is struggling against Eastern Illinois, Auburn's defense did struggle a lot against Vanderbilt, but Pavia's a billion times better. Pavia might have been worse than Ty Simpson at the beginning of the year, but Pavia's playing his best football, was great against Texas, was great against Auburn, was phenomenal against Kentucky. Ty Simpson's playing his worst football, so I'm scared. If I'm Alabama, I think Ty Simpson's going to struggle, and I really do think Auburn has a very high chance to win that game. So, and then there will be a discussion. Fans are going to want DeBoer fired. He's not going to get fired. He'll get 1 more year. But if they don't make the playoffs that year, then he would be gone. Because I'm scared if I'm an Alabama fan. 8-3, 5-2 in conference play. I think like 16th in the country. The Texas Longhorns. Big game at home against Texas A&M. If they win that game, I think there's a high chance that the Texas Longhorns reach the college football playoff. Arch Manning struggled against good defenses. The Yankees have a pretty good defense. Arch Manning was great against Vanderbilt's defense, but Vanderbilt doesn't have a bad defense, but they don't have a phenomenal defense. They don't have one of the best defenses. He struggled against Ohio State. That was his debut, but still. Struggled against Georgia and struggled against Florida. Florida has a good defense. Those are all on the road. Yes, he's at home. And they need it more than Texas A&M. The Aggies are locked for the college football playoff. But they want a top 4 seed. They want to win the SEC championship. While in this case, though, Texas, if they win, I think they reach the college football playoff if they win that game. But I'm not so sure they win that game. And I'm not so sure. Well, I would think they would get it, but they're definitely not a lot to get in if they beat Texas A&M. But Texas is a great team. But yeah, hosting Texas A&M is going to be a scary game. It's a big rivalry. They won last season, went into crazy College Station and won. But again, it's a scary game. Texas can definitely pull off the upset. Without doubt in my mind, it's possible. Very possible for Texas to win that game. Just, I don't know. Arch Manning is definitely improving. First Texas quarterback ever to have a passing, rushing, and receiving touchdown in a game. He's playing great now, but he struggled against Georgia. Georgia has a great defense. They do have a better defense than Texas A&M, and India was on the road, but I'm still not entirely sold on Arch Manning. And Texas. 9-2, 5-2 in conference play, ranked 8th in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners. They beat Missouri. I did not expect that to be the case. I expected them to lose that football game, if I'm going to be honest. I expected them to lose that game. I did not see them winning it, but then they do. LSU. I think the Oklahoma offense is going to struggle. LSU is a great defense, and Oklahoma does not have a good offense. But LSU was an atrocious offense, whether or not Garrett Nussmeier played, but they are better with Garrett Nussmeier. But they beat Western Kentucky 13-10. Like, they almost lost to Western Kentucky. So I don't see whether it's Garrett Nussmeier or the backup. It was the backup against Western Kentucky. But either way, I don't see them scoring points on that Oklahoma defense, and I don't see Oklahoma losing at home. So Oklahoma's probably reaching the college football playoff. They're probably getting it. But you never know. You have to be alert. I don't think Oklahoma can win a national championship because they don't have an offense. They do not have an offense. Oklahoma does not have an offense, so they'll beat LSU because LSU does not have an offense at all. Oklahoma has an insane defense, but Oklahoma doesn't have a very good offense, and LSU has a great defense. So that's definitely, I'd be shocked if Oklahoma lost, but we're not gonna completely write it out. 9-2, 5-2 in conference play, ranked 14th in the country, the Vanderbilt Commodores. I think they could still make the college football playoff. Very high chance that they sneak in. That they sneak into the college football playoff. Because I think if they go into Neyland and win, especially if it's decently convincing, they pass Utah, whether Utah goes into Lawrence and wins or not. I think if BYU is sitting at 11-2, because if they beat UCF, BYU, really won't move up at all, and then lose to Texas Tech, I do think that the Doors would pass them. And then they're right on the bubble of reaching the college football playoff, and I don't know what would happen. But Alabama could lose. And then you're the 11th seed, or you're the 11th ranked team. And then I forgot what else I was predicting. And, then I don't know why they actually, I don't know. And then Miami could lose to Pittsburgh. Miami could lose to Pittsburgh. Let's not write out that scenario where that happens. And it would not be good for Michigan to beat Ohio State because then they would mark up ahead of Vanderbilt. So that would be bad. But Pavia deserves the Heisman. 8 rushing touchdowns, 26 passing touchdowns, 6 picks, at least 2 fumbles, or at least 1. I'm pretty sure 2, maybe more. He threw 5 touchdowns, 480 yards. He threw a pick, but he ran for a touchdown, Pavia is phenomenal. Pavia is a phenomenal quarterback. He deserves to be a Heisman finalist. He deserves to be second in that running right now. He's better than Julian Sayin because he has a worse team around him. And he's better than Marcel Reed. And it's definitely going to help him the story. But then Fernando Mendoza also has the good story. But Pavia has a better story because he completely turned around. Indiana was good last. It's mainly Cignetti. Vanderbilt was bad before of Clark Lake. It's Pavia who was the main turnaround. But it's going to be scary to see if the Doors get in. You'll see if I have them in my bracket in a short little bit. But yeah, it's stressful. 8-3, 4-3 in conference play, the Tennessee Volunteers. Of course, they host Vanderbilt. Big rivalry game for them. I was surprised that they went into the Swamp and won by 20 points. I had Florida pulling off the upset. Granted, Florida's a trash team. DJ Lively's a trash quarterback. Surprisingly. But, the Vols, that impressed me. Especially for a bad Tennessee defense. And they're going to have their hands full against Diego Pavia. They're going to have their hands super full when they go up against Diego Pavia. But yeah, frustrating year for Tennessee, but it was kind of an intermediate year the entire time. Losing Nico Maleva, but Joey Aguilar's good. And he's joining on Pavia's case to stay another year. So if they win, Aguilar will be the quarterback for the Vols next season. They could very well make the playoffs. They just need to improve that defense because they have a good offense. They just need to improve that defense. And Josh Heupel always has a great offense. 7-4, 3-4 conference play, the LSU Tigers. Of course, fire Brian Kelly. There's a lot of drama with that the AD didn't have the authority to fire him or blah, blah, blah. I don't even really understand it. And that, and they're looking for a full cause, firing, Brian Kelly suing and all that. But they barely beat Western Kentucky 13-10. They looked at, and you're right, spoil Oklahoma season. I don't see that happening. I really do not see them going into Norman and pulling off the upset. They were Lee Corso's national championship pick, which I've never understood that Garrett Nussmeier hype. He never had accomplished anything in his career. And everyone was like Heisman after not very good season. And not that good season last year. He's horrible. But then you go into Death Valley when it was a defensive battle. that did look impressive. That was an impressive one at the time, but Clemson goes on to be trash. Clemson goes on to be a trash program. But yeah, I never really understood the Nesmeyer hype. Frustrating year for LSU for sure. Who will they hire as coach? I'm thinking Lane Kiffin, of course. They offered him a massive contract. And I do see Lane Kiffin being the new head coach here, and that would be great. I mean, him going to a rival would definitely make Ole Miss dislike him. But, I mean, because they're a bigger rival than Florida is. But that, I think, would make LSU a contender. That would be a way better hiring than Brian Kelly, because Brian Kelly was never a good fit there. And they would be contenders. They could bring in some great players by hiring Lane Kiffin. That would be a huge hiring. 7-4, 3-4 conference play. The Missouri Tigers. They had Prabula back. They had Ahmad Hardy, and he just got bottled up. Ahmad Hardy. Oklahoma won that game because it was all defense. Oklahoma won in a sluggish way. Sorry. Excuse me. Very sluggish way that Oklahoma won. It was very sluggish and frustrating year for Missouri. They were in the CFP conversation, then you go into Nashville and lose. You lose Prabula and you get started on a 4th and goal play. That was the worst play of the season. To fail on 4th and goal where you would have taken the lead on Vanderbilt, and you lose your starting quarterback for the game, and people thought for the season. But for a while it was. He missed the Texas A&M game. He missed the Mississippi State game. But, I mean, frustrating year. They've lost 4 games. They cannot have their 3rd consecutive 10-win season. That's frustrating. They got a rival, in Arkansas to conclude the year. Very likely win for them. But yeah, frustrating year for Missouri. 5-6, 2-6 conference by the Kentucky Wildcats. They had won 3 in a row. People thought they can upset Vanderbilt. They lose 45-17, not even close. Pavia goes off on them, which is weird considering Kentucky is a good defense. Mark Stoops will probably be fine. It's a big buyout. He's been there for a while. This is his 13th year. They're not going to pull the plug after this season. It looked like he might go, but then winning 3 in a row definitely saved him a lot. But yeah, this has been frustrating. They got Louisville, who's playing their worst football of the year, and they definitely win that game if Miller Moss is out. I don't know if Miller Moss is going to be out, though. But, I mean, yeah, it's been another tough year for Kentucky. Another tough year. They're not very good, Kentucky. And they really never are. So that's frustrating to be a Wildcat fan at this point in time. 3-8, 2-6 conference play, the Florida Gators. They got Florida State to conclude the year, nothing to play for. They're still hoping they can get Lane Kiffin. That's still the goal, is to land Lane Kiffin. We will probably know by the time Florida and Florida State happens. I'm expecting the news to come early Saturday afternoon, but could be Sunday. But I'd say Monday at the latest. But Saturday is my prediction, then Sunday. I'd be surprised if it takes all the way to Monday. But, yeah, Florida still wants to get him. Florida, again, super disappointing year. I was super high on them. Completely was disappointing. End the year by beating Florida State for the 2nd straight year. But Florida State is more to play for, of course, considering they can still get a bowl game. But yeah, just super frustrating year for Florida. Fired Billy Napier. It's just been rough. 5-6, 1-6 conference play, the Auburn Tigers. They're still looking for a coach, of course. If they beat Auburn, I'm sorry. If they beat Alabama, then they go bowling, which again is very possible. So they have something to play for in that game too. It sounds like Jackson Arnold's gonna play. I just want to double check. That's what I heard on David Pollock's channel. He said, well, yeah. Yeah, it sounds like, I don't think it's official, or at least that's what David Pollock said, and looking at it, it doesn't seem official. But yeah, which I don't know if that'd be the smartest move, but again, frustrating year for Auburn. They always get good recruiting classes, or Hugh Freeze always brought in good recruiting classes, but they can never put it together. If they can make a good hiring, they can definitely be good next year. 5-6, 1-6 conference play the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Again, they are fighting for a bowl game and looking to stun Ole Miss. That's possible, I think. But they start out 4-0. We're up on Tennessee. But it's all slipped away. It's frustrating for Jeff Lebby. if they have a bad year next season, he could be out of a job, especially if they lose to Ole Miss. Because maybe if he has a bowl game under his belt, it could be different. But yeah, I don't know for Mississippi State. I really don't. And they're just not very good. Blake Shapen's going to be gone next year, though. 4-7, 1-7 conference play the South Carolina Gamecocks. They have a rivalry against 6-5 Clemson. Nothing to play for South Carolina, but it's at home. I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe it's a neutral site, but I'm pretty sure it's at home. Lenore Stars has been disappointing. Very high chance of transfer. It sounds like Shane Beamer's not going to be fired. So that's good for Shane Beamer. Then, of course, he cannot be poached for the Virginia Tech job. As Virginia Tech already hired James Franklin. But this has, of course, been, people expected for it to be a great year for South Carolina. I had them number 9 in my rankings. I think the people had them on like 13. It all started with getting smoked to Vanderbilt. Sellers got the concussion. That was the start of this terrible season. And you may think losing by 1 point to Texas A&M was highlight of their season. That was the most embarrassing loss of the season because they were up 30-3 at halftime. 2-9, 0-7 conference by the Arkansas Razorbacks. It sounds like they have hired Alex Golish or Golosh. I don't know which one it is, but from South Florida, that's a good hiring. I think he could very well be successful there. It's not official, it sounds like, but very likely. But they're probably going to go 0-8 in conference play, 2-10, and lose their last 10 unless they beat Missouri, which is possible, but very unlikely. So Bobby Petrina's not going to get the job. That's the right move. He hasn't won a game as interim. He's going to go 0-7 most likely, even though he has come close at times. But, yeah, Alex Golish would be a good hiring. I think he would be successful there. I don't think it's official, but it's pretty much official. But yeah, that would be a huge hiring, and I think that could be good in recent memory. It's better than hiring Georgia's O-line coach, Sam Pittman. That was kind of an interesting hiring. Because I've heard that. If that was his only job, that is a weird hiring. But yeah, now I'm going to go through my bracket. This will be pretty fast, and then I'll go through, which matchups I would be having. 1 seed, I have a 13-0 Big Ten champion Ohio State team. So this is it's kind of where I think these teams will finish. And then, 2 seed, I have a 12-1 Georgia team. So Georgia beats Georgia Tech, and then beats Texas A&M for the SEC title. 3 seed, I would have a 12-1 Big Ten championship runner-up Indiana team. So they lose against Ohio State. 4 seed, a Texas A&M team that lost to Georgia for the SEC title, but barely moves down at all. 5 seed, I would have a 12-1 Big 12 champion Texas Tech team, but they could very well be ahead of Texas A&M. 6 seed, I would have an 11-1 Oregon team. Wins against Iowa, Penn State, USC. 7 seed, I would have an 11-1 Ole Miss team. Strong wins in Norman and all that. Speaking of Norman, 8 seed, I would have an 11-1 Oklahoma team. 9 seed, I would have a 10-2 Notre Dame team. 10 seed, I would have a 10-2 Miami team. I didn't think they would get in, but I think they would get in over an 11-2 BYU team. They're already ahead of a potential 10-2 Utah team. But I honestly could change this because I honestly forgot they were playing Pittsburgh, which that would rise them up even more, but that's a scary game. I think they could lose that game, but I'll just keep them here for now. I already wrote it down, but don't be surprised if on my Saturday pregame show I pick Pittsburgh over Miami. But yeah, 11 seed, this is bold. I have a 10-2 Vanderbilt team. I think they would get in over 10-2 Utah team, and an 11-2 BYU team, and a 9-3 Alabama team. And I don't know who that other team would really be. Who they would have to pass. And then 12 seed, I have a 11-2 AAC champion Tulane team. They get in over James Madison because they would have a win against Memphis. North Texas would be nice. So they would get in over James Madison. So in this bracket, Ohio State, Georgia, Indiana, Texas A&M have a bye. And I may as well predict my national champion. This isn't final, of course. But you would have a 5-seed Texas Tech team hosting a 12-seed Tulane team. Tulane's not that good. Texas Tech would beat them pretty hand-handedly. 6-seed Oregon would go... 11-seed Vanderbilt would go into Eugene. Pavia plays great football, and they upset Oregon. This is just with my bracket. 10th ranked Miami would go into Ole Miss. It depends on if Lane Kiffin's coaching. but I'm just going to assume here Lane Kiffin's coaching and Ole Miss beats Miami in a nice win for them, and then they're at home. Notre Dame would go into Norman. I think Oklahoma's defense isn't enough. It's a defensive battle, but Notre Dame goes into Norman and wins. So in this case, then we would have Ohio State playing Notre Dame, rematch of the national championship in the Rose Bowl, I think. This would be a stunner, but I'm going to have the Notre Dame. No, I'll have Ohio State squeaking it out against Notre Dame. They always beat Notre Dame. So then the 2 seeds would play the winner of the 7-10. So I would have Georgia playing Ole Miss. Rematch of that game. I think no one's playing better than Georgia. Georgia would win that. The 3 seed plays the winner of the 6-11. So Indiana Vanderbilt. The Battle of the Cinderellas. Give me Vanderbilt to keep the Cinderella going. And then you would have 4 seed Texas A&M playing the winner of the 5 and 12. So they would play Texas Tech. Battle of the Texas schools. Texas A&M and Mike Elko. Squeak it out. They squeak it out. So then you would have, last season, they would play the winner of the 4 and 5. So the winner of the 1 and 8 and 9. So Ohio State would play Texas A&M. I think the Buckeyes are better, and they would win that game. Georgia Vanderbilt. That's when the Vanderbilt Cinderella ends. Georgia wins that. Ohio State and Georgia battle. I think Ohio State wins in an all-time classic for the ages. So based on my bracket that I have, because it's bull that I have Vanderbilt going to the semis and that I even have Vanderbilt in. I'm scared that I honestly don't know for sure if the Georgians get in. I think it's actually unlikely. I just kind of want to have them in. And then again, I think Miami could lose to Pittsburgh. And I think Ole Miss could lose to Mississippi State and all that. But yeah, so based on my bracket, which is Ohio State 1 seed, Georgia 2 seed, Indiana 3 seed, Texas A&M 4 seed, Texas Tech 5 seed, Oregon 6 seed, Ole Miss 7 seed, Oklahoma 8 seed, Notre Dame 9 seed, Miami 10 seed, Vanderbilt 11 seed, Tulane 12 seed. Going through that entire bracket, I have Ohio State winning the Natty right now. And then I'll do this again with the actual bracket. Well, that's it for this episode of the College Football Show. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you on Friday for my Black Friday pregame show. Have a phenomenal Thanksgiving. Enjoy the NFL games. Have fun. And make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow or Friday for my Black Friday pregame show. Again, enjoy Thanksgiving. Bye now.